giant steps I want to talk about. It's the solo approach of these two great players. It's the rhythmic subdivision they're using extensively. And what can we do with this? You're probably here because you want to get more fluent in playing jazz lines. And you probably also want a harmonic and rhythmic overview of the solos you're playing, because you want to play beautiful jazz phrases. This is the right place to be, because this approach really fits you. This is a quite simple example played over the first 8 bars of the tune Days of Wine and Roses. And you see how I'm doubling the timing between the bars. So a whole note, a half note, quarter notes into 8 notes. And it's really the easiest trick. Double the timing. So from the whole notes to the half note I double up. So 1 note to 2 notes. The half notes to quarter notes double up to 4 notes. Quarter notes to 8 notes double up. And this is where we're thinking subdivision, yeah, we need that. But we really need that. What I have seen in my own development is this approach to subdivision really develops you 8-note lines. Let's get on with it and start with this beautiful standard Days of Wine and Roses. This is probably the fastest and best approach to learn to play beautiful 8-note lines immediately. It's a 4-step plan. We'll start with the chord notes. You need to learn the chord notes because they are very essential to any jazz standard and really to play jazz. So the first step seems really easy. Play the chord tones with whole tones through the form of the tune. I start by playing the roots of the chords because I really want to hear the basics of the tune. In the same exercise as playing the whole notes, I clearly want to hear the progression, how it moves. I think it's very important when we are playing music to always try to play the most beautiful melody. Version of the whole tone melody, I'm really trying to make a horizontal line through these chords, through the melody. And this is how many melodies work. Played horizontal, it makes it very easy to sing. And if you can sing it rather easily, it makes it very easy to listen to too. These basics are so important, so please promise me that you will play this step 100 times. Because when you're playing these slow melodies in whole tones, you have the time to hear the progression, you have the time to get into the sound and get it into your fingers and ears and head. So really, repeat this exercise lots and lots of times. So what we're doing now is establishing a basic foundation on which we can build. So please build a strong foundation. Now double up the tempo, play the half notes. Again, this is not rocket science. Stick to the chord notes. And what I just said before, in the process of building this foundation, please make it as strong as possible. Keep playing this a lot of times till you really get it down. In the lesson manual on Patreon, I have of course added all these great exercises into the beautiful tune of Days of Wine and Roses. I'm taking you through the 4-step solo approach, getting you many more examples on this. And of course you get all the exercise and how to apply it into the tunes. Download the lesson manual PDF on Patreon, the link is in the description. To expand the chords to the 9th. When adding the 9th to the chords, the meaning was actually to put it between the root and the 3rd. So you have 3 notes in a row. You get this little melodic structure. In this way you get a more melodic approach because these tones next to each other are just more melodic. And when you're only playing these chord tones, so up and down, you have these big jumps between the chord tones. The melody is kind of jagged and not really musical. So the next step is also playing quarter notes. playing on the chord notes to make my solo, of course added the ninth. In this solo bit you see how I alternate between the quarter notes and the half notes. And this is to make some room for thinking the next line. I need some space in my brain to think the next quarter note line. Where am I going? The quarter notes are a real melodic game changer. Quarter notes, of course you're adding 4 notes to the bar, and this adds a lot of melodic feel to the phrase. You kind of move faster. So this melodic feel really lies in the movement of the melody. Playing relatively singable phrases with the quarter notes and with the added ninth, you get a much more melodic line. Some other things that are really worth noticing playing these quarter note lines: motivic playing, leading tones and approach notes. What I just mentioned compared to the half note and whole note melody, there are much more movement in the quarter note line because we have more notes, of course. So this also means you can get into a more interactive solo. You can actually act on what you're playing, so using these 3 melodic tools. So now, at the scale. Practice the scales of these chords in any way imaginable. Up, down, sideways, whatever. You need to know the scales fully to understand it and to apply it to this concept. And now add the scale to your solo. And with the scale, of course, comes 8 notes. What we have been waiting for. And you see, I just added the scale. But the method how you should add it comes here. So fill in the scales between the chord notes. So let's look at an example how I do this. Take this F7 chord. You have this little phrase. When you take the chord and you look at it and compare it to the scale, you see that the chord is definitely a part of the scale. And besides the chord tones in the scale, there are some non-chord tones next to it. And these non-chord tones are the tones you add in between the chord tones. When you look at this little solo bit, you see what parts of the scale I'm using. So when I'm playing the 8 notes. So when I'm constructing a solo like this, using the half notes, whole notes, and the quarter notes, and the 8 notes, and the scale tones, and the ninth, and everything, I allow myself a lot of space in the beginning because I need to think of the next move. I really need some time to hear where I'm going and how I'm going to get there. So what I'm doing, I'm taking all the 4 steps and I'm mixing up all these pieces. The more you develop this, the better solos you get. I would really like to recommend this week's lesson manual on Patreon to you. In my Patreon lesson manual, I have constructed beautiful full form etudes on the beautiful tune Days of Wine and Roses using this 4-step approach. You will of course find a lot of exercises along with the application of this concept onto the tune. Download the lesson manual PDF on Patreon, the link is in the description. So if you really want to deep dive, I really recommend you to check out this amazing video showing Coltrane's scale approach. Play music, have fun.